I hit record like 2 minutes ago, and I've just been sitting here trying to figure out what I'm even gonna say. So I have to like do my makeup while I talk about this, because if I'm not distracting myself, I am gonna be emotional, and I don't want that today. I don't want to do that. I'm in the middle of renovating this place, so I'm sitting like in part of the bathroom right now, and it's not done, so there's no switch plate covers on anything. But when I go in the room where I set up for like filming makeup and stuff, my hair matches the background, so I look like a floating head, and that's not good. Kind of gonna do a get ready with me style thing, even though you probably didn't click on this video to watch me do my makeup. I also have corpse hands right now because I was dyeing stuff black in the kitchen. Chances are you clicked on this video to hear me talk about my miscarriage experience, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. So trigger warning to anybody who doesn't want to hear about that. I won't be holding back any information. If that makes you uncomfortable, or if you found this video because you're going through or think you might be going through a miscarriage, just know that's what I'm going to be talking about, and you should obviously talk to your doctor, because everyone's experience is different. To be honest, I filmed this video, like telling the story, and as I was going to edit it, I was rambling too much because I haven't really talked about it. I mean, I've talked about it to family and doctors and my closest friends, but telling it to the infinite World Wide Web is a little bit different. Anyways, I was rambling in that video and didn't get to the point, giving so much information that is not even necessary. Here we go for round 2. I had a miscarriage. It was a very, and is still a very hard experience for me as someone who wants to have children. I have health conditions and like chronic health and like autoimmune bullshit pretty much. Boys, mommy's trying to film a video. So like a few things that affect my health, especially for getting pregnant. I have Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid disorder which affects hormones, and I have endometriosis. Got other things going on, but those are like the most important pieces, I guess. So basically I have a doctor who's in New York, and I see him like over phone and internet. He's the only doctor I've ever found that actually listens to me, and when I tell him something is going on, he like has an explanation, knows what to do, and basically just treats me like I'm a human being and not someone who's like stupid. Like, I don't know, healthcare in America is so insane. But I'm grateful to finally find someone, or to have found someone who actually listens and takes me seriously and has figured out literally everything that's going on with my body. So a couple years ago, like 2 years ago, he told me, you know, based on my test, my hormone levels and stuff, I'm estrogen dominant and I have low progesterone, which is not good for getting pregnant. And he told me because of those things and like just basically everything else going on, if I were to get pregnant, there's a high chance that I could have a miscarriage. So he immediately put me on a protocol basically of medications, supplements, diet change, lifestyle change, things like that, to try and get my body to produce more progesterone. I did that for a while until my insurance ran out. Once my insurance ran out, I didn't want to pay for all the testing and stuff out of pocket because it's very expensive, like thousands and thousands of dollars to pay for all these tests, like blood work all the time. And anyways, this is kind of just backstory, but it was coming up to the end of the year and I knew I was going to buy health insurance at the end of the year. I got the insurance and thought, okay, I'm gonna make my appointment with him again so I can like get back on track. At this point, we also decided to move, and it was all very last minute. Like, we were not thinking of moving, but it just kind of happened. So we're in the moving process, and our moving process takes like a month because, well, this is, again, I'm gonna start rambling. Our moving process took a month because we ended up being able to get the keys early and like slowly move things over. So during that time, I was supposed to start my period and I was late. My period's never late, maybe by like a day or two, but never more than, you know, that amount of time. This happens often though, where I'm talking to Jason, I'm like, I'm pregnant, go get a pregnancy test. So luckily I still had some pregnancy tests from you know, before when I've told Jace to go get them. I took it and it was negative, pretty much immediately negative. And when the test came up negative, I'm still sitting there and I'm like, okay, I'm not pregnant, obviously, because I don't think I can get pregnant at this point in time. Have never been pregnant before. I've had like pregnancy scares where like I thought, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant, but it was just me being paranoid, and I've never been pregnant before to my knowledge. So every time I take a test, it's negative, and I have probably hundreds of pictures of negative pregnancy tests in my phone. So I was sad, but then I was also like, okay, well, we're moving, it's not a good time, so whatever, try again next month. And we weren't really trying at this point. We've always actually just been like, if it happens, it happens, because there feels like there's no right time to try. Like there's just no right time. It's always going to be scary. So I haven't been on birth control in like 10 years or something. So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not pregnant. My period's just randomly 5 days late and makes no sense at all. But I'm like, whatever. We get to work, we're moving and all of that. It was intense and chaotic. So much going on with this move. But we get over here and we're getting moved into the house. And my mom comes over to help me unpack and like organize our closet, which still isn't even done. We were gonna open up a bottle of wine. What point in time is this? So my period was like 5 or 6 days late. Let me just look, because I write everything down in my period tracker app. I want to share the timeline because it still doesn't make sense to me, and no doctor has really explained it to me in a way that makes sense. So if someone else out there can explain this phenomenon that I'm about to tell you about. Had my period February 6th I started, but I was supposed to start on February 1st. It's like 5 or 6 days late. So it's on the 20th or 21st of February. So it's about 2 weeks after I have my period, or what I think is my period. At the time, I guess it's important to mention, for my period, because I have endometriosis and it's so painful, I don't use tampons or menstrual cups or anything anymore. I am a free bleeder. I use period underwear, and that's the only way I can do things because it hurts to even like touch down there on my period sometimes. So anyways, I don't notice too much about anything different about my period because we're moving, I'm not paying attention, and the period underwear are black, so I don't ever really pay too much attention to what things are looking like down there. I bled for like 3 or 4 days, if I can remember correctly, so I didn't like notice anything. Then 2 weeks later, on the 20th or the 21st, my mom's here, we're getting ready to like unpack, and I want to have a glass of wine, and I went to the bathroom first. I like went to go pee while my mom was gonna get this wine opened. When I sat down to pee, I noticed that I had like spotting. That's not normal for me. Like I've never had that before ever that I can recall. So immediately I thought, okay, implantation bleeding. Even though the days, like nothing was calculating to me, but I was like, Jace, go get a pregnancy test, like something's going on. And even then, like thinking back, I felt like I was pregnant because it was just a very strange thing. Like I sat down to pee and I was like, I'm pregnant. And so anyways, he goes to get a test and he comes back with like a value pack or like bundle pack of 4 tests, 2 digital, 2 not. So I took the not one and peed on it. And as soon as like your pee starts to like go down the line, the control line starts to show up, and then if another one's going to show up, it'll start to show up too. And I felt like as it was going down, I saw the other line popping up that would have said pregnant. So I flipped it over immediately and was just like in kind of shock, and I was like, there's no way. No way, my mind's playing tricks on me. And so I walk out of the bathroom and I tell Jace, I'm like, I think it's gonna be positive. And he's just like sitting there, probably doesn't even know what the hell to say. And I'm like, I'm just gonna wait and see what it says because you're supposed to wait like a certain amount of time. All of this is happening really fast because my mom's still in the kitchen, like all the way down this hallway, trying to find this bottle of wine, get glasses and things like that. I'm walking back to the bathroom and I'm like, I feel like it's positive. And Jace is sitting on the bed. I flip it over, immediately can tell it's positive, and I just, like, this shiver went down my body of like every emotion just left. I wasn't scared, I wasn't excited, I wasn't sad, I wasn't literally anything. And I turn around to Jace and I'm like, I'm serious. Like, that's all my body could like conjure up to say. I was just like, I'm serious, because right before I had said, like, I feel like it's positive, and I turn around, don't say anything except for, I'm serious, and that's it. And then I think eventually I said it's positive, or I like showed him the test, and it's so weird because I would have wanted to film this moment of like me finding out because I would have wanted to remember it forever, but I didn't. So I feel like, I don't know. Anyways, I yell down the hall to my mom that it's positive. She comes running back. We're all like excited. I'm in shock. I'm like, I start to cry eventually. Excited, but scared because all this time my doctors have told me I'm going to be a high-risk pregnancy and it's going to be hard for me to get pregnant. It's going to be hard for it to stay. So all those thoughts like start going through my mind, and I'm like, oh my god, when did I even get pregnant? Because technically I should have been like ovulating that day, and it didn't make any sense because a pregnancy test wouldn't have shown up positive if I had just ovulated and like just gotten pregnant. I'm freaking out. I don't know what the hell's going on. I start Googling. I mean, we told our parents, well, my mom was here. I told my dad, we told Jace's family, and everyone's excited. That's basically it for like how I found out and like how that went. I was nervous, terrified, shocked. Eventually, after sitting there for a few more minutes, I'm like, this is a false positive. Like, I need to take another one. So I took the digital one. Immediately is like pregnant, and then I took another, like the one with the line on it, and it was positive immediately. So the tests are clearly positive. Like, I am knocked up. It's happening. I'm still spotting. So for the next day, every time I went to the bathroom, it was brown, like a little bit of brown on the toilet paper, and I was Googling, and I know. When I was Googling, it was obvious that that can be very normal, but because I knew I was going to be high risk, I was getting really nervous about it, and I was having really bad cramps, which I know you can cramp in early pregnancy, but it seemed like I wanted to take ibuprofen, and I'm not even like a person who takes medicine ever, even ibuprofen. So I told my mom, like, I want to go get, like, I need to go to the ER or something and just make sure for my own peace of mind, or I'm going to sit here and freak out the entire day. So my mom took me because Jace was working, and we sat in the ER for like 14 hours, and they ended up doing some blood work and ultrasounds, where the doctor in the ER told me that, just a side message really quick, being pregnant to me has always been like, when I like have dreamt my whole life of like having kids and stuff, pregnancy always seemed like such a beautiful, exciting time, and the doctors that I've seen since I was pregnant ruined the entire thing for me. Like, the doctors in the ER were so dismissive and weird. Like, first of all, the doctor in the ER told me that 90% of women have a miscarriage before they ever get pregnant, and I'm like, that sounds like he just made that up. And then I tried to Google it after, and I couldn't find anything. Not that like Google is like the end all be all, but that's just not true. So anyways, I get blood work done, and I get an ultrasound, like the vaginal ultrasound and the regular, like over the tummy one. The thing about getting an ultrasound in the ER is that it's not the experience that you see, you know, on TV and stuff. It's like, they don't let you see the screen. It's not like an exciting, like, looking for the heartbeat kind of thing, or like, oh, it's a boy or a girl. It's like, no, you can't see the screen. I can't tell you anything, and you just have to lay there in silence for like 15 minutes while they stick that shit up there, and it's very uncomfortable. I cried while they were doing that and just felt very alone in that situation. It comes back that they couldn't see anything on the ultrasound at all. There was nothing there. My HCG level was at like 50 or like 45 or something, which is very low, but they thought it was just a very early pregnancy, like 1 to 2 weeks old, which still doesn't make any sense for the dates. But that's what they told me. They said, come back in 2 days, we'll do another draw and see if your HCG levels are going up. So that's what I did. Those 2 days were the longest time of my life, I fear. We go in, and it wasn't 48 hours later. It was actually, I got the blood draw at nighttime, like around 5 p.m. And then the next day we were home, and then the following day after that day, we went at like 7:30 in the morning to get another blood draw. So it wasn't a 48-hour turnaround. I went and got the blood draw done, And this whole time I've still been spotting. It's only been brown, but I was still spotting every single time I went to the bathroom. Just a little bit, but enough for me to worry about it. My next blood draw, my HCG level was at 78 or something. And the ER doctor is obviously not an OB, but he ended up calling an OB at the hospital just to get a second opinion. And the OB said, you know, you really can't tell from just these two tests because it's going up not as quick as they would want it to, but they still don't know. They didn't have, like, it. That appointment did nothing for me. So I called my other doctor, the one who's in New York, who actually listens, and he's personally dealt with this before because his wife has similar issues with getting pregnant, but now they have children, so I really trust his opinion. And I called him, and he sent me another script to go get blood work done, but to wait a little bit longer to see what was going on. So at this point, I'm just like trying to distract myself at home. If you've seen my TikTok of all the painting I've been doing at home and everything here, I just could not sit alone with my thoughts. It was too much. I felt like I didn't have anybody to talk to because I don't know many people who have gone through miscarriage, but it was just me on like Reddit and Google basically, like, what happens if this happens, and like, what if I'm bleeding, can I still like carry the pregnancy all the way? And some women say they have full-on periods and like throughout their whole pregnancy, and it doesn't make any sense. Probably like 4 days later or 5 days later, and I get blood work done again. So the results come back the same day, and since my doctor is in New York, he was already like out of the office, but the place where I got the test results done so they could print them out for me, but they couldn't tell them to me over the phone. So my mom and I go to pick them up, and we look at them in the office, and my HCG had gone down to like 30 something, and my progesterone had gone down by like 1. So at that point, it was pretty clear that like, okay, well, something's not right because that's not normal. So I pretty much knew that I was having a miscarriage at that point without confirmation from my doctor. So the next day I talked to him, and he's like, yeah, this seems like a really early miscarriage. Basically, my body will clear it out on its own. I'll just have to try again. I know miscarriage is really common. Like something like 1 in 4 women will experience it, but it's still crazy to me how not comforting doctors are about it. Even my doctor, who I love, was just like, yeah, it'll, you know, your body will clear it out on its own, which using the term clear it out is really uncomfortable. And mentally, I was like, I was not good mentally because I knew I was about to go through it, and I was so sad that not only was I losing this baby that I want desperately, but also I feel like I was letting everyone down. Like, my mom was so excited, Jace's family was so excited, and even though like I know deep down it's not my fault, I couldn't help but feel that way. So the next few days following that were really, really hard for me, and I was just trying to be strong for everyone and myself and be like, it's okay, at least I know I can get pregnant, and we'll try again. So I started to get more spotting, and it started to look like coffee grounds, which is a thing I guess I didn't even know was a thing, but I guess it's common when even like in pregnancy you can have that. So very strange thing to experience, but that's what was happening. And then one night when I was in bed, I got like a really intense cramp. Felt like I was gonna start my period. That's what it felt like. And I went to the bathroom, and it was just bright red for the first time. And so I thought, okay, it's happening, and was like trying to mentally prepare myself as much as I could for that. But then the next couple of days, again, it was just like the brown spotting, so it was super weird and inconsistent. But then on March 6th, which was when I would have, if I wasn't pregnant ever, I would have started my period on March 6th. And on March 6th, I started my period. So I thought, okay, well, I guess it's done, or like it's, you know, it's happening or whatever, and after this period, I'll be back to normal. And I did. So I had my period like I would expect. It was a little heavier. Actually, it was a lot heavier. The first 2 days were like really heavy and very different, like consistency and like texture wise. Just a lot was happening. It was not fun. Like every trip to the bathroom or every sudden gush that was happening was like a reminder that my body was not keeping this baby. Yeah, it really sucked. Still sucks. But my period's done now. I'm not like spotting or anything anymore. Like I said, I filmed this video already one time, and after I got done filming the video and I was like, after I was done talking about everything, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take another pregnancy test because I still had one. So I went into the bathroom and I took it, and it still says pregnant, and I know that you can, like, it can take quite a while for your HCG to go back down and for you to test negative, but it just feels so strange. But like, it was going to be hard for me no matter what it said. Like, if it said not pregnant, I would have cried, but it said I was pregnant and I cried. So it just doesn't make sense to me. The dates don't make sense. Nothing makes sense. My body doesn't make sense. My doctor says, I haven't talked to my doctor since I took that pregnancy test again. I'm actually going to be going to a fertility clinic because when you're going through a high-risk pregnancy or you have fertility issues, somewhere like that can kind of follow you along really closely. And in my experience, this was my first time ever being pregnant, and I felt like like I was calling OBs all around town, and none of them were like being helpful or like giving any information. They don't want to see you until you're like 8 to 10 weeks pregnant, which is insane to me, because if I find out I'm pregnant, I need to talk to someone immediately. Like, what? You're just supposed to sit around and not know if like this is a viable pregnancy or not? Like, that's crazy. I will not be doing that because I will go insane. So I'm going to be making an appointment with a fertility clinic and just trying to have a better grasp on things before it hopefully happens again. Hopefully they'll be able to better guide me too as far as what's going on with my hormones, and can I, they'll do a full workup, which will be nice because that's what they specialize in. So that was my experience, and still is. It's literally been like, I don't know what day it is right now, but it hasn't been that long. Usually when you're pregnant, they tell you to wait like until you're 12 weeks, like, to actually even tell anybody. But this whole time I was going through this, I so badly wanted to post about it on like Instagram or just say something and see if anyone else had gone through anything like this. I was like watching other people's videos on their pregnancy and miscarriages and stuff, which it was helpful and comforting at the time to feel like I was connected to someone else in some way with what I was going through, which is ultimately why I decided to even put this whole video out here of me rambling on. And if you have any questions about anything, feel free to ask me or DM me on Instagram. Always here to chat about it. That's why I'm very open with everything on this channel in my life. I'm a chronic oversharer. If you have any questions about the pregnancy or anything, even though it was very short, I'm happy to answer. Like, I did have symptoms and stuff like that. I feel like I still even have some symptoms. Or if you've gone through like fertility treatments and just want to like share anything about your story, like, I'd be willing to listen to that, and that would probably help me out. So that's it for now. Jason and I are doing really well. He's been super supportive and so sweet during this time. He'll be an awesome dad one of these days, so I'm excited for that. And I'm not going to cry because I just did my makeup. So thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. You are always so nice in my DMs and comments, so I'm looking forward to chatting with you. I'm going to get back to vlogging now that I can and not feel like I'm hiding. And I'll see you in the vlog hopefully next week. Bye.